Hello there. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to deploy your website into GitLab for free. And then, you can share it with your friends or family or whatever, colleagues, right? And then it can be like your pet project, your personal project, or even like your personal resume site, right? So those kinds of things, it's nice to have like a really good free options instead of, having to pay hosts or domains and stuff like that. So this is totally a free option for GitLab users, basically. But there are other options that are available. For example, like you can do it on GitHub, Vercel, and a bunch of other websites that you can host. But I like to use GitLab, so that's why I'm doing this video, and I might do another tutorial for all those servers that I mentioned. Okay, so a bunch of prerequisites before we start this video. I'm assuming you guys have an Angular project already, right? And then there's one important factor that your Angular application is not server-side rendering website. So what that means is that you are not creating a really good production website, basically. So whenever there's a really big project, right, it typically requires server-side rendering. So for example, like if you're creating like a forum website or like an online shopping website, you tend to need that site to have a searchable function, right? Like for example, you want your site to be shown on Google, you want to be shown on Bing, for example. So that's why you need server-side rendering in those cases, and also it increases your website's performance and stuff. And I don't want to go much deeper into it, but if your application is like a single page application, like a simple game or something like that, you don't need to worry about it. You don't need to enable server-side rendering, so you can just have your Angular project work. So in a nutshell, what that means is that your website needs to be like a simple HTML JavaScript website, and that's it. So nothing complicated. For server-side rendering, it gets kind of complicated because there needs to be like a Node.js server running that serves your Angular application. So that's why it doesn't work on GitLab. Like this method doesn't work on GitLab. And I believe a bunch of other websites that I mentioned, it doesn't also work. So you have to have like a really simple vanilla, simple HTML JavaScript project, which Angular can compile it into, and then you can just use that. So, and then that's the first prerequisite. And then the second prerequisite is you have to have like a GitLab account set up into your computer and then ready to git add, commit, push, and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna show that in this video. I'm assuming you already have a GitLab account. So please open that up, configure it, and I'm sure there's a lot of videos that shows how to do that. Okay, so now that we have the prerequisites set up, let's go into like an example project and go through these steps basically. So the steps are like you have to change your folder structures a bit, and then you have to upload your project to the GitLab, right? And then there's a bunch of configurations in here too. So we'll go over through one by one and then see how it goes. So let's go to my snake project, which I did a whole video on, which basically, has a snake game. And you can, serve your application by using ng-serve, and then -o will open up a browser immediately. So let's just see what the project looks like, and then we'll go to the steps to deploy it. And this shouldn't take them long. Okay, so we have the snake game here, and then oh, I already lost, so let's refresh it, and then it just works like that. And then it's not a complete project. There are some bugs in it, but this is a good project to deploy it, I think. So yeah, that's the project, and this is what we're gonna deploy. All right, cool. So let's yeah, I guess we can close that out for now. So the first step is to basically rename a bunch of things. So on GitLab, this is very important. On GitLab, all of your production files needs to be under public directory. So what that means is that whenever you build your project and then bundle it, then it needs to be under public folder. But the problem with Angular 18 is that it already has a public folder that has a fev icon in here, which is the logo that you see on the top corner of the tab, right? So we need to move this somewhere. And then what I did was basically, you can do this, you can change this into anything, but I just said, change this into like assets folder, rename it, right? But you can't just rename it here, but you have to rename all the other stuff too. So for example, like this is public folder, right? But you have to change the assets path in the angular.json. So open the angular.json file and then change this public into assets. This is the same name that I chose here as a folder, right? And I think there's another place that I should change to. So yeah, in here too. Assets. So okay, so you have to change these two. And that's pretty much done. Okay, so and then that's all about the angular.json configuration. And since we changed, it's not changed, I guess. Whenever we deploy the project, like whenever we build the project, it will come out to the public directory, right? So we don't want that to be added to our Git, GitLab project. So that's why I have to, not I have to, but I guess we can just add it in here. So if everything under public folder, we don't want to add it on our GitLab project, right? So I just updated the git ignore file and I just added like public file. So that's good. But the assets file still remains the same. That's all good. So I just updated that. And that's all the update that I need to do. Okay, so that's the folder structure and that's it. So now we just do a bunch of uploading. So let's do, let's upload this project to GitLab, right? So the steps we do is like git.add, and then, commit message. I guess we can just say ready to deploy. And then, so this is my first time uploading this project to GitLab. So this is like perfect opportunity for you guys if you have the same situation, right? So I don't have this project on my GitLab at all. So this is the thing that I have to do. So the command is git remote add origin, and then I should use my your GitLab project URL. So it's gitlab.com/Tingun is my username, and then the project name. So project name, I just say snake.git, which is the project name, right? So make sure you don't have this folder in your GitLab project. So now I've added the origin. So now that I have the origin, I just have push origin master. So now it's uploaded to the internet basically. So you can just click here and open that up. Let me just try to open that up in my browser. See what happens. Okay, I'm trying to, let's just copy this. Okay, so here it is. So I just, I just uploaded this 1 minute ago, right? So now your project is ready to be deployed, I guess. So it's, everything is, configuration is ready, and the folder structure is ready, right? But now we have to deploy it, right? So to deploy it, we have to have like a deployment configuration. Yay, another configuration, right? So we have to go to deploy and then pages. So this is how you deploy the project. So the whole process, the whole point of this process is to create this GitLab CI YAML file. If you know about this already, then you can just skip this step, but this UI is basically meant for you to do like a step-by-step process of building this YAML file at the end. And that's it. That's all it is. So select your build image. This is basically saying, at the end, this is like a Docker image file, right? If you know about Docker, you'll see this as familiarity. But in Docker, what it does is like build image is basically your node version. So node LTS would be just use the latest stable version, right? And then this is to acknowledge that my project deployment, like everything that is built, is going to be under public folder. So this is a requirement, right? So you have to check it, and then next. So ours is going to be under public folder. So now there's like a build step, like installation step, right? So what do you need to do to build it? So you need to install Angular CLI. So which is what I have here, npm install -g at Angular CLI. And I just put the version name like specifically like here because Angular CLI updates every 6 months, and then it might have like backwards compatibility issues in the future, right? So that's why I did it like Angular 18 in here. So I would suggest that you do that too. Make sure it's the same version that you have in your CLI. And then now that we have installed the Angular CLI, which, this is the global installation, right? So you have to install the local packages. So npm install is your local package installing. And that's it. That's the installation steps before you build it, right? Before script, basically. And then you can click next. And then during your build, how to build it, right? So to build it, you do ng build command, right? So that's how you build it. But there's another option, right? We have to specify the output path to public. So which means is that whenever you build a project, normally it's going to be under like this, and then your project name, right? It's going to be under like this. But we don't want that. We want to be under public folder, right? So that's the GitLab requirement. So that's why we need this. And also we need base href mine. Let's just do this. Not mine, sorry. Snake. I think I messed up on the details before. I'll change that. Okay. So basically you do base href, your project name, Snake. So I'll explain that later why we need this, but this is really important step. Otherwise your application is not going to work. And the next step is that whenever we build it, there's a problem with Angular. So I think I can show that to you guys on the VS Code actually. So here, let's just, do ng build, right? Ng build output path to public, right? So let's just do this command and see what happens. This is going to actually build the project, right? It's not going to take long. Hopefully. Okay, so now it's done. And then, yeah, okay, so here, see, it's going to be under public folder, but there's a browser folder, right? Like a nested browser folder. So this is wrong, like structure for GitLab. Everything every file under here needs to be under the public folder directly, not like nested in the browser folder. So this is what Angular is doing, right? So basically we need to move everything into the public directory like here in order for it to work. So browser folder can be empty. It doesn't get used, right? So this is the final structure that we want on GitLab. So that's why we need another step to move every folder, like, everything under browser, everything, right? So public, browser, everything, stars, everything, and then move it to public folder like that. So that's the final step that we need to do after the build. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. Next, commit message is like, Angular deployment, I guess, deployment script. This message doesn't matter, so you can just commit it. Okay, nice. So now it's done, right? So the Angular pages configuration is done. You can check the status on your pipeline, basically. So what this process just did is to create just a pipeline. So pipeline means like whenever you merge your code into master, which branch or wherever you want, it does something, right? So now what it's doing is it's actually deploying your site to the pages, right? I'm not sure why it says pending. Okay, maybe it's just testing or something. So yeah, basically go to pipelines and then you can see your status of the job. So the deployment takes a while, right? Whenever you, merge some code into master, it has to build, it has to deploy, blah, blah, blah. So okay, now it's running. Nice. This process, for me, it took about over a minute. It's pretty fast. So the beautiful thing about this is that now whenever you merge some code into master branch, then it just automatically gets deployed on the website. So you is pretty cool. You don't have to do any manual thing. It just goes up there live, and then you can see the process right here in this pipeline window. Or I think it also shows on the jobs too. I think jobs is like a particular job within the pipeline, and you can see like some nitty-gritty details like the commits branch and stuff like that. But I just see it under the pipelines. That's pretty much it. It shouldn't take maybe I think it's gonna take like 10-20 seconds more because like I said, it runs through every command that we just did, right? So it's gonna install the Angular CLI, it's gonna install all the packages, and then it's gonna build the project, right? So that's why it's taking like over a minute to build. If this was like a vanilla JavaScript just website, then I don't think it's gonna take a while at all. Okay, now it's passed. Nice. Okay, so now where is the website, right? I had a hard time finding the website URL, so it doesn't show here. So what you need to do is go to the deploy pages page again, and then it will show there. Okay, so a couple of things. By default, your website will have like a unique kind of like a random name, right? So if you don't want it, just click this, use unique name, right? So save changes. And there we go. Now your website looks clean, like your username, gitlab.io, then /snake, right? But also there's like one additional thing. This is a private repo, right? So no one can access it but other than you. So which means you should make this into a public repo for people to see it, right? So let's just do that. So go to settings, general, and then visibility, project permission. You can expand it instead of private, just make it public, right? And then save changes. Okay, now the project is public. So now let's go to pages again. And yeah, this is your website basically. So just click here and then see your website. Yes, yay, you have an official Angular project that is deployed on GitLab for free. And also it has a nice URL. How cool is that? This is really cool. And just to prove that it is public, let's just go like open a incognito browser and then type it, and then yeah, it is working. So everyone can access it right now. How cool is that? All right, so this has been the tutorial of deploying your GitLab, not GitLab project, I guess, your Angular application to GitLab pages. And I hope you liked it, and let me know if you have any questions, and maybe I'll do it for the other services like GitHub or Vercel and stuff like that, but we'll see. But I hope this video was helpful. See ya. Take care. Bye-bye.